Hi, my name's Peter Oakes. This is a video about living life better, drawn in part from my experiences in active addiction and in recovery. I'm a bit over 13 years clean and sober now. Use the words interchangeably for this video. For me, both the words simply mean I don't use recreational mind-altering substances. Also add a disclaimer that I don't know everything. Okay. I've learned a lot about addiction. I've learned a lot about recovery. I've studied, I've had the outpatient education, and I've had my regular experiences of walking alongside other people that are also living life in recovery from addiction. But I don't know everything. I still have more to learn, and I'll continue to learn about how to live life better for a lifetime, I hope. Whew. Yeah, it's over 13 years, 10 months since I finally got clean of active addiction. And my life has changed fundamentally over that time. One of the things for me that I continue to feel is gratitude, and that's gratitude to the friends and family and people I've walked with in recovery, gratitude to the professionals that made such a difference over the years of recovery. And that's been from counsellors to psychologists, psychiatrists. Had a fantastic GP who was always supportive of my efforts too. But yeah, connections with people. One of the biggest differences for me in life now is that I have a sense of connection with my fellow human beings, whereas that was lost in the later years of my using. And I'd kept my substance abuse and addiction problems pretty much secret. So I might turn up, socialise for an hour or two, and then have to disappear and go home for some compelling reason. And the reason almost invariably was that I needed to get home and use until I was unconscious. In the later stages of my using, that's how I lived on a daily basis, was get home, get unconscious. I didn't want to feel anything anymore. I loathed the way I felt, and using until I was unconscious stopped that feeling for a little while, and until I woke up the next morning, and basically did it all over again. That's how I lived. So yeah, I am grateful. Every now and again I get a big reminder that I'm grateful, and that just happens out of the blue. But it's not just that I'm alive, which I wouldn't have otherwise been. It's that I have a quality of life that in the later stages of my using was unimaginable. I'd flown high when I was younger, achieved a great deal, been a high performer, high achiever, but that was long lost and long gone in the later years of my using. That's just how life was at that stage. I went into treatment, not committed to really anything. I was just broken, so I went along with the program, did what they told me to do, lived it one day at a time. It's battling not simply withdrawal, but also some significant issues with anxiety and depression over those years. And you know, in recovery, they wanted me to give up the one thing that could make it all go away for a few hours. And that was part of the challenge for me about staying clean and sober. In the first year or two, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel good physically, and I didn't feel good mentally. First 18 months of recovery, I was sick every day, nauseated, nauseated pretty much all day, every day. That's what happens when you damage your internal organs through substance abuse. About 18 months or 2 years in, somehow I stopped feeling so physically sick. Had a doctor who'd sent me off for blood tests. I was getting them done regularly, and she asked me to do a second blood test after I'd done one a couple of days before, and it came back with liver function was normal, which she didn't understand and said she'd never seen in 30 years of practice, but certainly the liver recovered and functioned in the normal range when that pretty much looked like it was going to be a medical impossibility. And for that lack of nausea all day, every day, I am still grateful. It's a different world when you're not feeling sick all day. I think, at the moment I am reflecting quite a bit. Met a lot of people along the way in recovery, and quite a number of those people have died over the years as a result of their addiction. If you're an addict and you've got that addict makeup, and you continue to use, it's a killer. Puts people in need of psychiatric help, puts them in front of the courts, and it puts them in a coffin. I'm grateful that I have my life today. I live very much one day at a time. Seems to me that if I get too far ahead in my head, days will catch up on me, and it can become a bit overwhelming, even now at times. But I have plans, and I execute those plans. For my life, I have my goals. They're important. I find living one day at a time pretty good on a good day. No drama. But I remember to try and just stay in that day. When it's not such a good day, I end up very much back at basics with the program. They talk about miracles in recovery, and look, I'm not a miracle guy. That's just not part of my thinking generally. But in my case, the fact that I got clean and I stayed clean, and I found a life worth living, and there's something miraculous or pretty amazing about those three things for me. I thought it was beyond me to get clean for a day. Once I'd got clean for a few days, I just didn't know that I could sustain that, and yet it's happened. I've had a tremendous amount of help and support, and I've worked my guts out at turning my life around and changing it. It hasn't always been easy, but it's been worth it. One of the things that made a real difference early on for me was had a couple of people carried hope for me when I had none. And, I was physically, mentally, financially, and spiritually broken when I started treatment. I've been broken for quite a long time before that. I felt no hope, no future, no point. Other people carried that hope, and that made a world of difference to me. People's recovery experiences vary quite a lot, but there's that common ground for addicts that if we use, problems result, and that's a consistent thing with addicts. Might be problems for other people or problems for yourself, but there's issues around it. For people who don't abuse substances and can take it or leave it, I think, that's cool. Well, don't change anything. You're not creating any problems for yourself or for others. for me, I can't quite conceive of the take it or leave it, or have a drink or two, or a bit of this or a bit of that, and then put it down. Yeah, in the end, I was hardwired to use all the time, and to use the unconsciousness. You know, don't know that you'd call it bliss, but oblivion was pretty good to me back then. So early on, when they're talking about miracles, I'm thinking, oh, shit, maybe things can change. And this is in the first year or two of recovery. I'm thinking, okay, yeah, all the wonderful things. So I'm going to end up with a Lamborghini, and I'm going to end up with a supermodel girlfriend, and I'm going to own a mansion, and I'm going to go fishing and write poetry and do all sorts of neat things. And I sort of wondered what had happened to all of that, because it never quite happened. For me, the miracles have simply been to have found life worth living. I have work now that has meaning for me and is important to me in my life. It's challenging and engaging, and those are things that are good for me, to be occupied with things outside of my own head. Too much time on my own's not good for me. It's not so much that I think too much, because I think a hell of a lot, but it's pretty important where I take that thinking to. I guess another thing for me is what matters has changed a lot in life. There's nothing I regard more highly now in life than kindness. People being kind and caring for each other. I think that's one of the most special things there is in this life. I have connections now with family and people that didn't exist in a lot of ways in the later stages of my using and in the earlier stages of my recovery. Got a decent late model car now. Got a renewed passion for fishing and getting out and doing the things that I love. A few years into recovery, I felt that my ability and desire for creative writing returned, and I could do it. And I never thought I'd get that back. I'd written my first book about recovery in the first year of recovery, but that was non-fiction, and takes a bit of a different skill set. So look, for people who are out there, one of the best things for me, and I think whether you're an addict or not, is to have some sort of program to live by. I live by a 12-step program, but I don't know that it matters so much what the program is, that you have one, and a program of personal growth, kindness, and caring for the rest of the human race are important things in there for me. But for me, that program's a reference point. On a daily basis, I use the serenity prayer. I hand my life and my will over to my higher power, and then I get on with my day. So again, look, I'm grateful to everybody that's walked with me along the way. If you see somebody without hope who's trying, then if you can carry a bit of hope for them, a bit of kindness for them, you can make a world of difference to another person's life. Thanks for watching this video. Hope to be doing more in the future.